All right, so green cards today, specifically EB1A and EB2 NIW.
Okay.
Those are the ones for people with, extraordinary abilities or whose work really benefits the U.S.
Yeah.
So you're already on a special track.
Yeah.
You're interested in self-petitioning, which is amazing.
Right.
But you're understandably curious about those visa requirements.
Mm-hmm.
They can feel like a maze.
Definitely.
Right. Don't worry.
Yeah.
We're going to use Green Card for PhD as our compass today.
Good idea.
They've helped a ton of people navigate this process.
Absolutely. And you'll be surprised by what we found.
Oh, I am.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Well, the first thing that jumped out from their materials is this. There's no specific visa requirement to apply for a green card through these categories.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah.
None at all.
Seriously. Imagine being able to apply for a green card,
Okay.
even before considering a work visa.
What?
That's the power of this
Yeah.
insight. They actually say, and I quote, truly anybody can apply.
So someone on a tourist visa could apply.
They could. Someone on a work visa, someone outside the U.S.
Wow.
It doesn't matter for the initial application.
Right.
Of course, this doesn't guarantee approval.
Right.
You still need to meet all the other eligibility criteria, which we can save for another deep dive.
Okay, so no specific visa required. That's huge.
It's huge.
But I have a feeling there's a but coming.
You're right. And it has to do with something called immigration intent.
Okay.
Think of it like two separate paths.
Okay.
Dual intent visas run parallel to the green card path,
Mm-hmm.
while F1J1 visas are more like a detour.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break it down for me. Green Card for PhD specifically mentions F1 and J1 visa holders. What's the deal with those?
So F1 and J1 visas are student visas,
Right.
and they fall under what's considered non-immigrant intent. Basically, when you enter the U.S. on one of those visas, you're stating your intention to return to your home country after your studies are over.
Which makes sense. You're here for school primarily.
Exactly.
Mm.
But, and here's where the paths diverge, applying for a green card implies a desire for permanent residency in the U.S.
So how does that work? Applying for something permanent when your visa says temporary?
That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Green Card for PhD calls it contradictory intent,
Right.
which I think sums it up perfectly. You're essentially saying, hey, I know I said I was leaving, but actually...
Right. Right.
And that can make things a little tricky.
That makes the next point even more crucial. What about other visas, like the H-1B for work?
Yeah.
Do those have the same issue?
Great question. That's where the difference between dual intent and non-immigrant intent visas really comes into play. Green Card for PhD specifically mentions H&L visas as examples of dual intent.
Okay.
These visas are designed with the understanding that you might want to apply for a green card down the line.
Okay, so with those visas, it's all above board.
Right.
But if you're on an F1 or a J1 and you apply for a green card...
It doesn't automatically invalidate your F1 or J1.
Okay.
You won't get deported just for applying.
Right.
But as Green Card for PhD points out, it does introduce a layer of complexity,
Okay.
especially when it comes to things like visa extensions, applying for optional practical training, OPT after graduation, or even just re-entering the U.S. after traveling.
Because now your actions are being analyzed through a different lens.
Exactly. The officer reviewing your application might look at your green card application and think, do they really intend to use this student visa for its intended purpose?
Yeah.
Which is temporary study? Or is their true goal to stay permanently? It creates uncertainty.
That's going to be stressful for people in that situation.
It definitely adds a layer of stress. Green Card for PhD emphasizes that there's no guarantee of denial in these situations.
Okay.
But it's important to be aware of the potential risks. It's all about understanding the rules of the game, so to speak.
Green Card for PhD is really coming through as the MVP in this situation. So for someone listening who's maybe feeling torn between these different visa paths, what's the main takeaway they should be thinking about? It sounds like knowledge is power, especially when it comes to this stuff.
Yeah.
Navigating the visa world.
100%. The key takeaway here is awareness. If you're on an F1 or J1 visa and thinking about a green card,
Right.
be mindful of this potential conflict of intent.
Yeah.
It's not a deal breaker.
Right.
But it should factor into your decisions. Things like when you apply,
Yeah.
whether to seek extensions,
Right.
if you should pursue OPT,
And just to reassure our listeners,
Yeah.
Green Card for PhD specifically states, and I quote, "Note that your F1 or J1 visa status does not cause any problem to the green card petition or decision on an I-140 petition."
Yeah. That's an important reminder. It's not an automatic disqualification.
Right.
Applying for a green card while on an F1 or J1 isn't impossible or wrong. It simply requires careful navigation and, as we've been saying, a solid understanding of the guidelines.
Which is where Green Card for PhD comes in handy.
Exactly.
Their website is a treasure trove of information. Everything from detailed breakdowns of the EB1A and EB2 NIW criteria to resources on handling specific visa situations.
It's an invaluable resource for anyone on this path.
So there you have it. You can absolutely apply for a green card through self-petition even without a specific visa.
Right.
But the type of visa you do have can significantly impact your journey, especially for those on F1 or J1 visas.
What I find fascinating is how much hinges on this idea of immigration intent.
Yeah.
It's this unspoken undercurrent that influences so much in U.S. immigration law.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Not always spelled out, so understanding the nuances is key.
Absolutely. Given these complexities, I encourage you to ask yourself, what additional research or professional guidance might benefit your unique situation? It's always wise to explore all avenues and make informed decisions based on your personal circumstances.
Couldn't agree more. It's all about being prepared and informed.
Right.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive. We hope this has given you a clear understanding of the visa considerations when it comes to self-petitioning for a green card. Until next time.
Thank you for listening to a podcast by greencardselfpetition.com. Visit greencardselfpetition.com for do-it-yourself packets. We aim to provide the collective experience of numerous applicants who have successfully self-petitioned for their green cards without employer sponsorship, in either the EB1A, Extraordinary Ability, or EB2, NIW National Interest Waiver categories. Our DIY packets are designed to assist you in your self-petition journey.